Welcome back to the Dear Katie podcast. This is Katie Koestner. I am the primary host of the Dear Katie podcast, and we are so delighted to have you take this journey with us on our weekly podcast episodes. I just want to remind everyone to do great self-care. Thriving is part of the purpose of this podcast, and we definitely want you to take a break at any time. Warm bath, fresh air, walk a dog, have a bite of chocolate, whatever you need to do good care for yourself. Just as a reintroduction, if you're not familiar with me, I am the woman who was on the cover of Time magazine at age 18 as the first in history to speak out nationally and publicly as the victim of date rape. And HBO made a film about me, and I went on to become the executive director of the Take Back the Night Foundation. We are the oldest, largest global movement on sexual violence in all forms for all people in the world. So we encourage you to visit our website for lots more information. So I'm going to turn it over to our hosts and our guests for today. Hi, everybody. Welcome back to the Dear Katie podcast. It is always a delight to have all of us together going on this journey. Every single guest is just, I think, part of what we can unfold, unwrap, redo, undo. It's all of those good things together. And I know that you all are going to enjoy Sabrina so much. I always like to say, push pause, take good self-care, chocolate, somersaults, fresh air, whatever you need to take a break if this gets a lot to hear. But I would love to introduce our guest today, Sabrina Osso. Osso. Okay, Sabrina Osso is the CEO of her own company, Osso Safe. Feel safe wherever you live, learn, work, and play. She is a TEDx speaker, an author, a real estate agent on creating and maintaining respect within homes, workplaces, and schools. Sabrina's own personal and professional experience with the subject allows her to bring a unique and holistic approach to the solution. Her company combines education and technology through a core product called the Osso Safe certification for properties, which entails the Osso Safe Home Sweet Home package for the real estate industry. I know she's done a lot more than just that, and I'm sure we'll learn more and more about Sabrina as we go. But Sabrina, I just wanted to start out, like I just mentioned to you, is your email to me was just, I was almost in tears myself, because the hardship that you endured and violence you experienced personally is, certainly I can only imagine. It might have broke you, but in the end, it made you so committed to the safety and well-being of so many people. So did you grow up in New Jersey? I think you're in New Jersey now.
Right. I am. I was born actually in New York, in Manhattan, but I've been in New Jersey since I was 2.5 years old. So, yeah. So I've lived in New Jersey most of my life.
Okay. So you do you have siblings, or just you and two parents? Like what was growing up like for you?
It was very traumatic, it was a war zone in my house. My father beat my mother on a regular basis. My mother would beat me. So I know firsthand how difficult it is to live in that type of environment. You're basically living with a terrorist, if you will, every day, And, people would ask me, well, what's the problem? How bad could it have been? But I can say that, people that don't go through it, like it could be as small as, well, why didn't you finish your homework? Or like a war will break out, or you get sick. Like something that was consistent is in my house is that, I would get sick a lot, like colds and strep throat and fever, flu, and kids get sick, right? They get sick, but when you live in that type of environment, it gets to a point where it's abnormal. It's not even normal to get sick that often. And my father would be my mother. My mother would blame me, and every time he hit her, I felt like he was hitting me. And I remember growing up, like it was always what's going to happen? What's going to happen? Like what's going to happen today? Um, it was never like I wish I could say that I have a good memory in my house. And there were a few good things. Like I'm Italian. My parents were born and raised in Italy, and I'm very proud of the fact that I Italian was the first language I learned, actually. I spoke no English in kindergarten, I was told. I don't remember this, but so I'm grateful for that. I'm grateful that I'm very fluent in Italian. I am proud of my Italian heritage. Um, but I have to say, when we would go to Italy, and I've been going to Italy since I was an infant. Katie, I don't remember a good memory of being in Italy, and Italy is beautiful. Italy is just a beautiful
Mm.
country. Um, but my parents were always fighting, screaming, yelling, door slamming, cursing in Italian and English dialect, Italian dialect. Everything was so a war. That's the best way I could put it. And
Well,
it steals your life. It
yeah,
steals your
yeah.
life.
Well, I'm thinking about several things, Sabrina. Maybe we could talk about them. First, it seems like this was your memory of all time, and you didn't have any siblings. It was you. No.
I have two siblings.
Oh, and so they were in the thick of it always as well.
Yes. Yep.
Do you, wait, are they boys or girls or?
Male, one female, a boy and a
Okay.
girl.
Do you feel like you were targeted more by your mom for any reason, or was it spread across all three of you?
Um, I think it was spread out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
it was spread out. I am the oldest,
Mm-hmm.
so uh, yeah, it was spread out. I mean, no one is exempt in that
Right.
house, in the household. It sound like, yeah, maybe like I felt like my father kind of favored me, but you can't even call it that. You can't even call it that because we were all terrorized, you know.
You
Um,
ever, I mean, you said it was like random, but predictable, meaning it could happen at any moment, but it was pretty regular, like every day.
right. Yeah.
Oh my
Yeah.
goodness.
And it could have been like I said, as small as you got sick, and kids get sick. Why didn't you wear your coat? And why did now I have to spend money to go to the doctor? And this is your fault. And this is your fault. It would
Oh God.
just turn into a war. Simple things, to the
Mhm.
biggest.
How do you think, I'm just curious if now you're an adult looking back, I guess, why do you think your mom stayed? She had no choice. Like, did she recognize it herself?
Um, yeah, she did and she didn't. I mean, she definitely grew up. Um, you got to take it. You have to
Okay.
put up with it, especially Italian. But I don't
Mhm.
even want to single out a nationality, a culture, because it's everywhere. It doesn't
Mhm.
matter, the religion, the culture, the nationality. It's everywhere, and also I have to say, she is she was a child when she got married. She is
Mm.
a product of child marriage. She was forced to be engaged at 16, married at 17, had me at 18.
Oh, wow.
You're a
Oh my
child
goodness.
at that, it's looking back, I realized it's like, yeah, a child marriage. Um, uh, and I remember she did go to a couple of divorce lawyers and
Mhm.
her and I think I went as well. Like as a child, you feel like the burden is all on you, and they make you feel that way as well. Your parents, like the solution, you have to figure it out, or you have to put up with it and try to resolve it, or you know
Yeah. It feels, I can hear the stress, just it's feeling overwhelming, even just thinking about you trying to navigate all of that turmoil and never knowing, where anything could be safe, which is, I'm looking at the sign, and it's so interesting that you turned all of that experience into a whole passionate business about safety and creating stability and like reliability and consistency, like all the things that you didn't have. Sabrina, it sounds like you just decided I must do this. But before we get to exactly there, so you finished high school, and then did you go on to college, or did you start your company? Like what happened next? And I guess, I know I read, but our listeners didn't know that you started, your friend must have said, "Hey, Sabrina, what about a counselor or therapy?" Right. So maybe talk about like that transition into getting out from underneath this a little bit. Never, your parents don't exactly disappear. Even when you're 18, you still have to navigate that. But maybe what did that look like for you in that, like that 18 to 25-year-old piece?
right.
Hi, this is Katie Koestner, and I wanted to remind all of our listeners about the free National Sexual Assault Legal Hotline. We at Take Back the Night have assembled an incredible team of attorneys, trauma informed, who truly believe survivors and want to support their journeys in healing and finding justice. The Get Justice Hotline is 567 Shatter, or feel free to fill out a form on the Take Back the Night website, share your story, let the attorneys know what's going on, and they will get back to you as soon as possible with all of your legal options. That is a service we are delighted to provide through Take Back the Night.
I did finish high school. I went to college and I majored in computer science, and then I minored in Italian and math. But uh, I knew I had to get out. So at the time, I said, "What's going to make me the most money so I could get out, so I could leave, or I could sustain myself?"
Mm-hmm.
And everywhere at that time was computers, 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 computer science. And I would say, in a way, in a lot of ways to this day, that's kind of true. But, uh, and I got my degree. I did what I was supposed to do. And, I didn't trust anyone to talk about my problems. I mean, it's the silent understanding. You don't talk about this. Like in my house, you don't talk about this. Everything is fine. We don't have problems here. You're the problem. You don't talk
Mm-hmm.
about this. So it was very hard for me to find somebody trusting that I could even mention this to. And there was this one girl that I met in college, and I'm very grateful to her. She listened to me. She knew stuff was going on, and I trusted her to talk, to just for her to listen. And we were both crying, 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 crying. And she said to me, "Sabrina, you need to see a therapist, some kind of therapy." And I said to her, "Yeah, but I'm not the one with the problem. It's my parents." And she said, "I know, but if you go get help, you'll be helping them." And that really resonated with me for
Ah,
whatever reason, for whatever reason.
yeah,
So,
I like how you said that. I just want to sit on it for a second because it's a different. We haven't, I've been doing all these interviews and meeting all these amazing, strong people, and I liked thinking about that that you were going to help the abuser a little bit by getting stronger and getting a handle on like what response do I want to take? Can I put up any boundaries? Can I unpack some of the damage? Like, I think it's so powerful to say it like that. Sabrina, I love that. I
thank
love
you.
that. So did he, I mean, sometimes we talk to people, they're like, "Oh, I tried 10 counselors. Like nobody was a good fit." Did you happen to find someone pretty quickly?
Yes, and I'm so glad you mentioned this. I went at first to the psychological services at Montclair State. That's where I went. It's now Montclair State University. When I went, it was college, and it was free. It was part of the tuition. And I remember my friend, I didn't want to go at first. All the noise in my head. What if somebody sees you? This is shameful. They're not going to help. This is stupid. What if somebody catches you? All the noise. But she didn't give up on me. She did not give up on me. She says, and she was gentle about it. She wasn't like, you gotta go and come on. Nothing like that. She was very, we would be studying and she would say, Sabrina, did you go? And I can't remember, but it took me a while to go. And I finally went. I'll never forget it. I went down those stairs and I was so doubtful, but I saw Dr. O'Connell.
Yeah.
She,
Wow.
I remember very distinctly, and I went to her, I think, for a semester. And then she said, Sabrina, I would really like it if you continue because I can only do so much here on campus. But I would really like it if you go to continue therapy. And they wanted to medicate me, and this was not so big back then, but now they medicate so much, and we could talk about that later. And I refused medication. I refused medication because I said if any good is going to come out of me, I want it to come out naturally. Because I feel like meds will make it all worse. I'll be numb. It'll change my chemistry. I just didn't feel good about it. So then after that, I started seeing my therapist, and it was very difficult. And I like what you said, and it's what we say at Osso Safe. Don't be discouraged if the first couple of times you see a therapist, it's not the right fit. Let that be okay. Don't let it discourage you. Don't label all therapists as the same. Let it be okay, and just keep trying. And I remember with Dr. O'Connell, the sign that I had a good therapist, and even with the therapist that I went after Dr. O'Connell, was when I left, I felt less heavy. That's the best way I could put it. Because
I like that.
when you live with abuse, you have the burden of the world on your shoulders. Everything is it's hell.
Yeah, but
Everything is just hell.
Sabrina, let's talk about that for a second more too, because
Sure.
I'm thinking, I like saying I felt lighter, but I also think, having myself been through more trauma than most people know about, the childhood part when you have family dynamics that are really tumultuous and unpredictable. I think you and I know for myself, and maybe this sounds familiar to you, it was like we were always at the ready for the storm and we didn't even know it. Like we were so young. When you start going through, anything could happen in any given moment and you don't know where the safe harbor is. We have to build this skin right at the surface level, a barrier to keep ourselves sane, and so the heaviness to me feels like, oh my gosh, I can breathe because some of that armor, I can I can get rid of it. Like when I feel safe, I don't have to wear this. Like I just think of it as almost like, this like you see them in museums, like with the big metal, like from jousting. Like I'm like carrying around this like 100-pound weight of metal armor, and I think that's how I started thinking about it. Sabrina, I don't know if that resonates, but when you said the heaviness, that's what triggered in my head.
Yes, like a gladiator. You have to
Mhm.
have all of this heavy armor because you always have to be in defense mode. Um,
Mhm.
and 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 um, even if maybe nothing is happening at the moment, you're still on watch, on guard. you got to be ready for any terror that's going to happen because it did happen and it
Well,
continues to happen, you know.
what about this? Like, because I think you must have, when we're getting through the story, but you must have been able to push push your pain towards something constructive instead of destructive towards yourself. You know what I mean? Like some people in trauma, the fear is the flight or the fight. And the fight can be good if you put the fight into your own future. You know what I mean? Like maybe you were a fighter and you weren't doing self harm, but you were trying to fight into a whole new existence. I don't know. What does that
Right.
sound like? Sort of right?
Right. At the time, the best way I could put it, my defense was I got to do everything later. I couldn't, I'm a dancer. I'm a dancer. That's who I am.
Oh, wow, that's cool.
One of the first things that my therapist said to me was, Sabrina, you're a dancer. Go dance. You moved out. Go dance. And I couldn't even mention dance in my house. I could not talk about it. I wasn't free to dance. I wasn't allowed to live my life. I had to be the mold that they made me into because they didn't want me to be Sabrina, free Sabrina. Normally kids when they dance or do any performing arts or any art, you start really young, right? Like 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 years old. I could not do that till I moved out. And so it wasn't that I had a safe haven. Nobody came to my rescue. When I say nobody, no one, not family, not friends, not neighbors. I was alone. In fact, they knew what was happening, but not one person, Katie, said to me, Sabrina, if you ever want to come over to my house, I know what's going on. We're here for you. I'm so sorry that this is happening to you. That would have made all the difference. Whether I took them up on it or not should not have even been an issue. Just the fact that somebody was reaching out, but no one, Katie, no one. In fact, I was made to feel like, what's the problem? This
Yeah.
is normal. Like this is normal. So when just to speak to your point of that, if I had a safe haven, I didn't. It wasn't until I moved out that I made my safe haven and I started to build my life and unsteal what was stolen. And that was with dance. Then I was free to dance.
Hi, everybody. It's Katie Koestner. Just a quick interruption. We want you to know that there is an entire shop full of cool merch on the Take Back the Night website to support your own healing journey, that of someone you care about. There are t-shirts, there's bracelets, there's glow-in-the-dark stuff. There's all kinds of unique special edition from our artist series as well. So please take a look if it's a holiday or a special occasion or just a gift to yourself. Support Take Back the Night through your purchase. And did you then, dancing was in college? Like, did you join a team or ballet or tap or like all of the above?
Right. No, unfortunately, I graduated school and I was getting jobs, but I was so unhappy. I was getting computer jobs, but my heart wasn't in it at all. I was not, I'm like, I'm not some computer person. I hated the corporate world. I said it's the antithesis of what the artistic world is. And it wasn't until I moved out that I started clubbing. I was a heavy duty clubber, big.
Gotcha.
And I felt so free clubbing. Luckily I lived close proximity to the city. So I was hitting all the New York City clubs at the time. It was a great time for my favorite kind of music is techno, tribal, house, and all of that. So in the city, I was so free and I took the floor and I was so liberated, just liberated. And I would get so many compliments like, oh my God, like they thought I was on drugs. I was dancing so freely. My therapist said, Sabrina, go dance, go dance. And that's when I started taking classes. That's when I started to just submerge myself in the dance world, auditioning. And I took everything: ballet, jazz, hip hop, Latin, jazz, theater, jazz, everything. And I partnering, and I loved it. I loved it. And I felt so, this is who I am. This is who I am. I'm going to start crying. And I took teachers that gave a damn, like that corrected me, that knew I was serious and I was dedicated, and you know, I had to catch up on all those years that I lost, but it was so freeing, and the whole club scene was really, oh, I loved it. I just loved it.
I can
And then
tell you.
I started teaching dance, and very creative, very, yeah.
Okay, so that was like a vocation. But how did you pay? You were teaching to pay your way at that point, or you also had a
No,
job?
I was actually, my computer jobs were paying my way at first, and then I was actually homeless. I became homeless. I threw myself in the dance. I said, it's either do it all or not do it at all. Like do it 100% or do not do it. So I was homeless for like 9 months, but I was dancing. I was living in different places. Oh my gosh, it was very stressful, but I was doing what I loved to do. Uh, and, I was dating. And I've been with the same guy for a number of years now, and he is the antithesis of my father, and he's a great man. Um,
Good.
we we've been to we've been. In fact, my therapist said it's quite remarkable that you didn't continue the cycle, and it's because of the work I do on myself. So with therapy and with just a lot of tears, a lot of rage, a lot of anger coming out, but then you heal. And
Mhm.
also building my business is very healing. And we could get into that, but uh, I have a great guy, and he helps me tremendously in so many ways. So yeah, so I think I answered your question about
You
dance and
did.
computers. Okay.
So now we're dancing, but then what? I mean, then what happens next? And did you meet the guy while you were dancing? The boyfriend?
Let's see. Yes, actually, kind of. Yes. Yes. I was dating his roommate, actually. And
Oh
then
gosh.
my friend was dating the roommate, and my friend said, you would be good for his roommate. So, and that's how we met actually at a club. Yeah. We met at a club, and, um, and he's such a great guy, and, very supportive, very, like I
Yeah.
said, the
Wait.
antithesis.
How did you tell him? That's another question. Like since you guys are doing great, I'm curious. Like, how did you tell him, and what did you say?
About what happened, about
Yeah.
my
Yeah.
pain.
Hmm.
Um, well, it was tough. It was tough in the beginning. There's always trust issues with me, and when you're a survivor of violence, that's kind of, I don't want to say normal, but that's what you have, are trust issues. And it's almost as if I was creating problems where there weren't any, because he was such a good guy. I wasn't used to that. Like I didn't know what to do with that practically.
Right.
Like,
Right.
and I would, he listened, and I saw that I could trust him. So then I started spilling the beans, if you will, like what was happening. And he never even met my parents for years. Like I could not bring him
All
home,
right.
and it wasn't like that in my house ever. Like there was so much violence and abuse, chaos, dysfunction that I would tell him, you're better off never meeting them. And I know that's not normal, but that's normal for people like me that grow up with abuse. That's normal because why make them suffer? Why, why put them through that? And, so, uh,
Did you ever think, hey, Sabrina, I have another question. Did you ever think that maybe your parents could hold it together if there was a stranger around? Like they wouldn't blow up and go crazy if you brought somebody else? Or did you always just know that would never they couldn't behave themselves?
yeah, you mean a guy, like a
Like,
dating, like,
yeah, like if you brought, you know what I mean? Like if you come home and your dad and your mom are fighting, would they fight? Was your thinking like, oh, they're going to fight in front of my boyfriend too, or treat him badly? Or did you ever have this like idea, like, oh, maybe they'll be on their best behavior and they'll keep it together and not blow up? You know what I mean?
yes, yes, I do know exactly what you mean. They would be on their best behavior for like 5 minutes, but
Oh gosh.
then
Okay.
they would be themselves pretty quickly. Maybe
Okay.
first meeting, but it would be so awkward. Like
I hear you. I'm just curious. Like, I think sometimes we get optimistic. We're like, maybe they'll change, or maybe we can fix them, or maybe I'll show them a better example of me and my boyfriend that you guys don't have, or you know what I mean?
right,
I'm musing upon being you and what you might have
right,
been thinking.
right. Yes. Yeah, I knew that wasn't going to happen, and the thing is, abusive parents, abusive step parents, they love an audience. Like it's
Mm,
almost like they feel more powerful, and it's a way
mhm.
to control their victim. Like, see, I'm showing, I'm exhibiting control here and manipulation, and you're not gonna change my ways, and the me monster effect.
Gotcha.
That's how they
Hmm.
are. That's how it is. Especially around children. I would say abusive parents do not care. Oh, I better be on my best behavior, um, because I don't want to upset people. They live on that. I would say strangers, maybe like in the public eye.
Hmm.
Yes, they will put on that poker face. And I remember school teachers, my one teacher said, because my father would go to the not PTA, he would go to the, what is it, parent teacher conference. And I remember one teacher telling me, oh, I see where you're soft spoken, Sabrina. Your dad is so soft spoken. And I just, I didn't say anything. This was in high
Hmm.
school. And in my head, I said, if you only knew the monster that he is. So in the public, my
Hmm.
parents were both very, yes, behaved and very nice and but behind closed doors, oh,
Gotcha. I was just
monsters.
curious. Thank you for explaining that. I think
Sure.
it's really helpful. I mean, I guess part of um, our journey as listeners and survivors going, it's so helpful to think like, how does someone else navigate things and how are they thinking through things? And you've been so generous in sharing a lot of great information. I guess so. The business though that you started is incredibly successful, and I guess I want to know how you go from maybe your 20s. Like, when did you start the company? Did you have something between the dance and, Osso Safe?
Yes, I mean, yes, yes. Well, the company was built on my dancing, actually, because I was auditioning, I was getting gigs, and I started writing my one woman show called Home Sweet Home question mark. And
Okay.
in the show, I play different women being abused. She goes to her good place. That's where the dancing comes in. but then she's pulled back into the terror of violence. And the show ends really strong, really empowering. And Katie, I did a lot of research for the show, and I could not
Mhm.
believe the statistics that I was finding. So I said to myself, I need to make this into a business, a bona fide business with products and services that could really help people. So that's how Osso Safe was born, out of this one woman show. And
Awesome.
we're not a charity, we're not a nonprofit, and we respect all of the charities and nonprofits that deal with domestic violence. And we don't even like to use that word, because domestic violence has such a stigma that it is a woman's problem, and clearly it is not. And secondly, it assumes that all of the victims are female, and that's not true either. So we prefer to say home violence. It's more inclusive. And so that's how Osso Safe was born. And it's been, I went through a few name changes before I got to Osso Safe, but it's been 10 years, roughly. So,
That's amazing. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for continuing to take the journey on the Dear Survivor podcast. A quick note, we are 100% volunteer at the podcast and at Take Back the Night. Your donations, your generosity helps us do what we do on such a shoestring budget. And we would be so grateful if this show is helping you through your journey and you are passing it along to others you care about. Please visit the Take Back the Night website and donate and support our cause and our mission to end sexual violence and support survivors. Thank you. So tell us what it does. Like, what's the service?
Yes. We combine education and technology to create and maintain respect in homes, workplaces, and schools. And I thought long and hard about this. I said to myself, what did I need growing up? What would have made a difference? And I hired a business coach that asked me really deep, important questions about the vision, because I hadn't had the name yet. I went through a few names and it was wrong. And then after he asked me those questions, I came up with Osso Safe. And he said, bingo, that's the name. And what makes a home safe? What makes a home safe? What is it? What would make a home safe? What did I need? What is that main ingredient? And I asked some people, and a lot of the answers were love and whatever people said. But the one ingredient that is key is respect. Respect. That is the single most important thing that makes you safe. Because if you don't have respect, you can't feel safe. So respect is empowering, encouraging. You're not scared. You could be yourself. It's non-judgmental. There's no verbal, physical, sexual abuse at any time. There's no violence, abuse, chaos, dysfunction. Respect for your partner, respect for your husband, your wife, your children. Very important, your children. So we at Osso Safe, our core product is the Osso Safe certification for properties. And I thought about this. If you think about all of the crimes that happen, they happen in some type of residence. And I'm a real estate agent. So, and I use the real estate agent profession to help with Osso Safe, because I'm merging the real estate industry with Osso Safe. So, we created the certification, and we want all properties to become Osso Safe certified. What does that mean? Right now we're focusing on the landlord tenant portion of the industry. So whether you live in a townhouse, a co-op, a condo, a single family home, a multifamily dwelling, a two-family home, a villa, a mansion, a mobile home, a dormitory, a senior community, our goal is to make that property Osso Safe certified. We say to the landlord, hire us. We'll get your property Osso Safe certified. Purchase the Osso Safe Home Sweet Home package. It consists of a policy, a seminar, an app, and therapists assigned to the property. So just to give a brief description of all of those components, the policy basically states, I, as a landlord, I promise to provide you a safe space for you to live. You, in turn, as my tenant, you are not going to act in any way, shape, or form abusively. Otherwise, you, the abuser only, gets immediately evicted from the premises. And we go into full knowledge knowing that that would be the consequences. So there's no surprise. The second component is the seminar. Everybody's required to take the seminar, the Osso Safe Home Sweet Home Seminar. And it consists of facts, statistics, warning signs, definitions of abuse, the difference between abuse and discipline, what constitutes a good relationship, what are the warning signs of a bad relationship. So that way you know, oh, if I pull my partner's hair, that constitutes abuse. The third component is the app, and right now it's being improved upon, but I hired a software company to detect violent-like movements, and it captures them in real time, issuing alerts to the landlord. So let's say you have a 10-unit building. Wow, I just got an alert. You just beat the crap out of her in my unit 2, and you just beat the crap out of him in my unit 10. Well, this is grounds for eviction. You knew that this was going to happen. You are held to a higher regard, a higher standard in an Osso Safe certified property. You have to go. I have to protect everyone else in my building, and this mitigates liability and it maintains property reputation. The fourth and final component is therapists assigned to the property. So you are required to check in with your therapist once a month. Is everything okay? Do you feel like anything is looming? Just to give an example, well, Mr. and Miss Therapist, actually our son came home with bad grades. We don't know how to handle this. We're not going to beat him up. We're not going to verbally disparage him. We know better. We are held to a higher regard, a higher standard in an Osso Safe certified property. But help us through this. We don't know how to handle this. All of these components working together makes for an Osso Safe certified property. Our logo gets placed outside of the property. So that way any vehicle or pedestrian traffic, they're looking for a place to live. They're driving around. Wow, I know what that logo means. I would rather raise my kids in an Osso Safe certified property versus one that isn't, because they have the mechanisms and systems in place if and when violence, abuse occurs. And another big component about all of this, of all of those 4 components, is that children have a say on who they want to live with if mom and dad is being abusive to them. So we are giving them voice and choice. We do not wait until they are 18 years of age because, quite frankly, Katie, it's too late. Children will resort to drugs, alcohol, gang-related activity, self-harm. They will get involved with the wrong people and ultimately commit suicide. Why? Why? When we can nip it in the bud, children know who make them feel safe from teeny tiny through high school. And also a big component of that is our children's book, the Home Safe Home for You and Me. It's a staple in every single Osso Safe certified property. And I'm explaining the difference between respect and disrespect, abuse and non-abuse. And we are encouraging children to say the Osso Safe Kids Cheer. And it goes like this. I want to live where I am Osso Safe, and I am Osso Safe with, and they get to fill in the blank. Is it mom, dad, stepmom, stepdad? If it's not, who is safe? Who do you feel safe with in your life? Is it an aunt, an uncle, a grandparent, a close family friend? And we will help you get there. So all of these components working together is preventative versus waiting for an episode of violence to occur. Bad news travels fast. The police come. We're looking to flip the script where instead of waiting for that episode of violence and then all of your respectful Osso Safe tenants leave and then you're stuck with the abuser. We could flip all of that by making your property Osso Safe certified. So this is what we are introducing into the real estate industry. And I'm doing a lot of podcasts and speaking engagements to let people know that we exist, that we're here, our products and services are ready to go. But yeah.
I love it. Sabrina, that was fantastic the way you explained everything so clearly. And it's so mindful, like every component. If I were creating it, I would have, like, that was perfect. I think you
Thank you.
thought of every aspect and every component that I think would work well together and be beautiful. So how many communities do you have so far?
Right now, we've had just a few a few houses, and this is fairly new. And I know it's been 10 years, but I've been modifying it and just improving upon it every single
Mm-hmm.
day and
Mm-hmm.
marketing it like crazy, especially to the real estate industry, because that is key. So before you sign those documents where you buy a home, sell a home, you rent somewhere, get your property Osso Safe certified. So, but we've been getting very good feedback, positive feedback, and we're just looking to make this in the tri-state area, but we'll go anywhere in the United States. And the long-term goal is to make this worldwide, I should say, global. I've done so many podcasts for the Philippines, Australia, Malaysia, and they're saying you need to come here, you need to come here. This would be so beneficial. So, um, it's been, it's been challenging. I'm not going to lie. It's been, this is a new concept and a new way to think of your home, your
Absolutely.
day to day, you know.
Yeah, but the through line is so beautiful from what you went through. It's solving so that no one has to go through what you did, Sabrina. And that's kind of why I did everything I did, right? I reported them and I started going to speak at high schools because I thought if somebody had come to my high school before I was a freshman in college, maybe I would have thought that not every guy you meet at a fancy college is going to be a good guy, right? And so you did the same path. I'm so amazed to meet you. It's such a pleasure because it's so beautiful that you took every single thing and you also expressed yourself so much, through, you had a vision of what brought you joy and what brought you freedom, and you took ownership and choice over that too. So it's such a wonderful um, time we've spent together. I mean, I just know you're going to help so many people with your own journey. And now, hopefully, this incredible product and certification that, it should be everywhere. It should be in every single community possible. So we'll see what our podcast can do to help get the word out.
Thank you so much, Katie. Thank you so much. I am so inspired by you and what happened to you, and you've turned pain into power, and you've made everything so much better on a local level as well as on a global level. And uh, I know you're helping people every single day, and I thank you. I'm so glad we met. It's
Me
a
too.
blessing. It's what a
Yeah,
gift.
I'm so happy. Well, I know we will stay in touch. And for our listeners that want to learn more, I know you have a great website. So do you want to just say, I mean, we'll put in the show notes, but do you want to tell people how they can learn more about Osso Safe?
Sure.
Like, where should they go?
Sure. Our website is ossosafe.com. We are on all the major social media platforms: Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram. Our two platforms that are dedicated strictly for children of all ages is the
Mm-hmm.
TikTok and YouTube. We speak openly about abuse, about respect. If you are of dating age, what are the warning signs to look out for? What constitutes a good relationship? And then our children's book is on Amazon as well as other book selling platforms, which makes me so happy. So those are the best ways to contact us.
Perfect. Well, Sabrina, keep going. You have thousands and millions of communities to reach with your your platform and your certification. So we will try to empower more people to come in your direction. And for all of our listeners, my goodness, I hope that you continue on this journey, because I'm truly grateful for each and every one of our guests. They are just so positive and encouraging and honest and open and tell it like it really is, and just generous with their own life stories, just like Sabrina. So until the next week, continue on your own journey. Journal. I hope all of you are journaling along and taking something from each and every one of our guests. I know I am. So until we meet again, take care. Together we are thriving and surviving. Thank you again, everybody, for joining another episode of the Dear Katie podcast. I hope very much you found today's episode helpful, empowering, and a way to take another step in that long journey toward healing and supporting those we care about, learning about sexual violence prevention, and also survivor support. For those of you who don't know, again, the Take Back the Night website has tons of great resources, books, self-care options, cool merch. If you're feeling like you need a wearable, we have great t-shirts. Of course, we would love it if you follow along on our free newsletter with news and events going on around the country and even around the globe. And finally, don't forget to like us and follow us on Facebook and Instagram. You'll find our entire community popping up here and there, and recaps of our podcast episodes as well. So together we shatter the silence, and together we end the violence. Take care.